What's up, guys? My name's Omfugaa, and I got a UU match here against dung121. I do mainly upload UU on my channel, but I occasionally upload OU, and I plan on uploading some NU, and I do random Pokemon generator battles. So, this was a really serious UU match, though, so let's just get into the game. I lead off with my Raikou as he leads off with this Mienshao. I'm thinking because I outspeed him, he's going to be scared out, and he's just going to want to go for the fake out and then switch. So I go into Sand Slash, knowing I could take a fake out or a high jump kick. And I use Sand Slash over Claydol because Sand Slash has a 100 base attack stat. Sand Slash has better HP and defense, and they're both physically defensive walls. And Sand Slash doesn't have the psychic type, which hinders Claydol. So pretty much I just set up Stealth Rocks, knowing that he does have a spinner in the form of Claydol. But I can beat Claydol because my spin blocker can take an Earthquake, which is Chandelure, and it can OHKO with an Overheat or a Shadow Ball because I am Spec Chandelure. He's just going to U-turn out with a Swellow. Swellow's quite odd in UU, but it actually does work because, not does work in this match, but it works in general because it's a really speedy threat, and once you get rid of the steel and rock types, and the only rock type in UU is Rhyperior, so once you get rid of the steel types, it can sweep. So pretty much, I just set up spikes after taunting the Suicune. I didn't think he would stay in because I had Destiny Bond, so I just decided to go for a layer of spikes as he does just kill me off. I go into my Raikou to threaten him out. He does have a Claydol, but I don't think I'll go into his ground type too early, so I Volt Switch into my Chandelure on his Amoonguss. I know Overheat 2-hit KOs everything in his team after hazards, including his Suicune. I believe it is a 2-hit KO. Don't quote me on that. But he goes into his Claydol. I know I can finish him off with 3 overheats, and he's most likely going to try and rapid spin, but he actually tries to set up hazards, and I'm not going to switch out this turn, so I go for another overheat. This is Spec Chandelure, so I will be able to 3-hit KO him even after the 0.5 special attack thingy. So I'm just going to go for the overheat as he rapid spins, and I'm going to go for another overheat and finish him off as he comes into his Mienshao. I'm going to go into my Sand Slash, knowing he's going to Stone Edge, knowing that I could take a Stone Edge and a high jump kick, but unfortunately for me, he gets a crit, and that 15% would have left me at 65%, allowing me to live a high jump kick, but unfortunately that's not to be. So he just finishes me off, and hazards are going to be able to hurt Darmanitan and Chandelure this whole game. So I know his Claydol is dead, so I can keep going for Volt Switches, and I don't have to worry about anything coming in to stop them. And if he comes into his Amoonguss, my Overheat can 2-hit KO everything on his team. So what I really should have done here was went to Chandelure and just overheated. I go into my Darmanitan. Based on how often I've been over-predicting, I don't think he'll just go into a Suicune, thinking that I'll go for the U-turn. So I thought he would stay and then Spore. So I just go for a Flare Blitz as he does bring in his Suicune. I'm just going to switch back to my Raikou, knowing I can take a Scald, and I think I can take a crit Scald, but I can take a burn as well, but fortunately for me, he doesn't crit or burn, so I'm just going to stay in and go for another Volt Switch as he brings in a Amoonguss. This time I'm not going to make the same mistake, and I'm going to switch into my Chandelure. I know that, again, that an Overheat can almost OHKO everything, so I'm just going to straight out go for it. No point going for a Shadow Ball over predicting his, Suicune switch, but he predicts me to go for the Shadow Ball, so he switches into his Swellow, as I do just finish that off. That's going to be good momentum for me, because I've pretty much won the match from here. I just have to go into Snorlax and fodder it out, and then finish off his team with Raikou and Darmanitan and Chandelure. They're really the only 3 guys I need, but he's just not going to go for a high jump kick because he's going to predict the Chandelure switch, as I am just trying to fodder out my Snorlax. I go for a Body Slam on his Suicune. I know he's just going to rest up on me, so I figure I might as well Whirlwind and keep Whirlwinding until he just finally finishes me off with Mienshao. I Whirlwind him into his Mienshao, but unfortunately for me, he misses the Stone Edge, so I get to deal with a longer Stall War here. I should have went for a Whirlwind, but I just go for a Body Slam. He is just going to go for a U-turn, and he's going to U-turn into his Amoonguss, I believe. No, he U-turns into his Suicune as I Whirlwind him into his Amoonguss. So, actually I go for a Body Slam, but it's whatever. Eventually the Stall War is going to end with his Mienshao finishing off my Snorlax. But he's just gonna Sleep Talk. He gets a Scald. He doesn't get the burn, so my Snorlax is just gonna live that much longer. As I bring him into his Amoonguss, he knows a Giga Drain can't kill me because I am max HP in special defense rather than the standard Smogon set with like half HP, half defense, and then 252 in special defense. So he's just gonna go for the Giga Drain. I get the first turn Wake as I go for a Sleep Talk. He's gonna go for another Spore here, I think. As I go for a Whirlwind, I think, rather than the Sleep Talk. As he's just gonna go for another Giga Drain. I'm sorry about the stall war, but it's gonna end quite soon. So I'm just gonna go for a Sleep Talk. I get the Whirlwind, fortunately for me. So I'm gonna Whirlwind him into a Suicune, which was like the worst possible Pokemon to Whirlwind him into. But I'm wearing him down slowly, and he can't rest. Because in generations 3 through 5, when you Sleep Talk or rest, you don't get full HP. So I'm just gonna go for a Whirlwind on his Suicune. As I bring him into his Mienshao, he's only gonna be at 15%, as I believe he finally finishes me off with a U-turn. So now that he's gonna U-turn into his next Pokemon, I'm thinking if it's Suicune, I can go into Raikou and Volt Switch, and if it's Amoonguss, I can go into Chandelure and just Shadow Ball, because Shadow Ball OHKOs his whole team at this point. So I'm just gonna go for a Volt Switch, as I believe I go into Darmanitan. Yeah, because Darmanitan is Jolly Scarf, so I can outspeed everything on his team left. As I don't want to fodder out Darmanitan, so I'm just gonna go into Chandelure. Just to come in on the fake out and then die to a Stone Edge. Really, there's no other point. But he said in the chat that he thought I was Scarfed this whole game, which is kind of funny because I did like 100% to his Claydol, or rather I did 50% with half my special attack. So he's just gonna bring in his Amoonguss. I'm just gonna fodder out my Chandelure and finish this game off with Raikou or Darmanitan. So I hope you guys enjoyed Project MoshPit. Go check out my channel if you liked it. And I'll see you later, guys.